Are you proud to be a Mennonite? I hadn't seen that question before. Sorry for laughing. If you look at these YouTube moms or Instagram moms or whatever, just remember that something is falling through the cracks that likely isn't in your life. I know when you're in the valley like this, it can just feel desperate to get out. Like, I have to get answers, I have to fix it, and I have to fix it now, and my husband has to get answers. It's kind of a thing you have to learn. You can tell yourself, you know what, it doesn't matter, I'm gonna let it go, but you still feel like it matters and you still can't let it go. So it's a combination of things going fairly smoothly, no one's sick, cultural experiences, and yeah, just that feeling of pull up a chair, do some laundry, do some work while we chat. Today I'm doing another Q&A to finish up your questions. The last Q&A I didn't get to all the questions, so we'll see if we can get to the rest of them. If you're new here, my name is Janine. This is my channel, The Mennonite Mom. Pretty much all our videos are lifestyle videos surrounding family life, mom life, maybe a little bit of entrepreneurial life as a stay-at-home mom. And I bring you along for just random stuff in our life. So if you're into that sort of thing, not super niche over here, you're welcome to subscribe. All right, someone has 2 questions in your particular church. At what age do the babies or the little girls begin to wear dresses and skirts and head coverings? This really depends. Some more conservative churches would maybe start from a little baby on up. Others don't really have rules on it. And so it's just sort of, I don't know, just feel your way through it. Some Mennonite churches have little girls actually start head covering when they're children. But the majority of us do that on confession of faith when a girl decides that they do want to commit their life to Christ and follow him. That is then the step that, if that's what they choose and they wish to head cover and be a part of our church, then that's usually the next steps. And then, do Mennonites in your church send your kids to public or no, I don't even know how to say that. Let me look it up. Parochial. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but relating to a church parish, so a non-church school. So non-church schools, non-church private schools, Mennonite schools, homeschooling, or other Christian denomination schools. It really varies on the family, but the majority would either homeschool or send to a private Mennonite school. I don't know very many that send to public schools. There are some. They used to more in the past, but not so much anymore. Most Mennonite churches have their own private school. Do you guys ever plan on having more children? Lord willing, could you do a full house tour at some point? I don't know, the whole children thing, I'm assuming, probably. And then full house tour. Yes, if that's something you would enjoy, I would consider that for a video. Okay, so this is the question that came for Nolin. Sorry if this question is too personal, but has Nolin ever lost faith, so to speak, and just been overwhelmed with life because he is the main provider? How did you guys get back on track? If so, what did one or the other do to bring the family dynamic back to God? Any advice for a husband that wouldn't ever ask? So I'm assuming this is coming from the wife. And so maybe I'll just try to answer this. I don't really think of a specific time. It was probably a little bit more before we got married that he went through a journey where he questioned a lot of things. And actually, after we got married, we went through us together, and kind of at different marrying points in our faith, where we pretty much questioned everything we'd ever been taught, both from maybe more of a, like, our culture, Mennonite. Is it something we wish to continue in? Is it something that is valuable for us and our children? So a lot of questions were asked for the both of us. That's more for our situation. And I know for me personally, I also went through a stage, and sometimes I can still struggle with really hard questions of life, bringing them to God and trying to lay them down in my faith. I tend to think deeply about things and want certain answers, and if there's certain parts about God I don't understand, it can be a real battle. And there's kind of where faith and all that comes in, but it's not about me. So as far as Nolin goes, I don't really know of any specific time that he truly lost faith, so to speak, but we did stumble around a lot, especially in the beginning years of married life. But I wouldn't say as much as since he's been a father. But I will say this, in the whole course of our journey in our Christian life, speaking for both of us, the biggest piece of advice I can give from our own personal experience is to find a family, a church family, that you connect with and that speak life into you. I think that is one of the greatest keys to the Christian life. Not the greatest, but it is a huge piece of the puzzle. And that has been something that we found, and we are so grateful for the people that we are surrounded with, and the life they have spoken into us, the encouragement, the healing that has come through that in a lot of different ways, getting to know God better through their portrayal and understanding and people that have went before. And so sometimes you may be a part of a group or a church that you don't really feel that, I'm not sure what the word is, but maybe you're just not connecting, or maybe you just feel like it's a church that's not as on fire as they should be, or something, and that can really wear off on you. I'm not recommending just trying to find this perfect church or perfect group of people, because none of us are perfect, and you will always find faults no matter where you go. But it's really, really crucial to be surrounded by God's children and your fellow brothers and sisters in Christ, and to connect on a spiritual level again and again and again. And it is so healing. And if your husband is struggling or you're struggling, I think that is a key, is just to be surrounded by those kinds of people, and hopefully you can find that. But I'm not really answering for him. He would have a good answer. I should maybe ask him later sometime. This is a good question. The whole overwhelmed with life thing, that is such a good question, and so much responsibility falls on our husbands, especially if they're the sole breadwinner. And Nolin very much has he's my rock. He's like one of these steady people that just every day he just does his thing, and he has a faith that I wish I had more. Like sometimes I will wrestle with, and he does too, he's a deep thinker, but yet I will wrestle with things in life that I will probably never have an answer to, and it will drive me to levels of what I almost call insanity. And he has such a simple faith that I admire. And there is that verse that says that, don't ask me for the reference, but it's talking about the gifts that are given. It says some have the gift of faith. And I truly think that you look across, some people have a lot of knowledge, and I feel like my husband is definitely one of those. He's very knowledgeable and well-read. But, some people like really dive into different gifts, and some of it is just having a simple faith. Like they're just so quickly just rely on God easily, and they don't wrestle so much with some of these things. And I feel like he's such a steady person in that aspect. And he's like, we just have to believe that God is good. And if God says he's good and we believe that, then some of these things we can't answer. We just have to hand over to him. And I struggle more with that. So I'm not sure if he's ever completely lost faith in that sense as much. So I'm not sure if this really helps answer the question, but I definitely recommend, just from our 12-ish years of married life, seeing the beginning of our married life and how we were floundering and struggling in so many areas of the Christian life, and just finding our way and finding our faith, I guess, and feeling grounded compared to now. I think part of that is growing and getting older, and the biggest part was some of the people that we have come in contact with that have spoken life into us and basically shepherded us in many different ways. So I don't know if that's a possibility for you, but that is just, I can't recommend that enough. I know there's so many people that just, have their little house church, or they just worship as a family, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but there is a huge blessing in just getting together with a church family. And yes, it's harder with relationships. It's harder to work through your differences, but it's what makes strong connection and community. One other thing, this question I'm spending a little bit longer time on, but one other thing I just wanted to say. I know when you're in the valley like this, it can just feel desperate to get out. Like, I have to get answers, I have to fix it, and I have to fix it now, and my husband has to get answers. But you know what, as a wife, I would say, and from testimonies I've heard of friends of mine or whatever, it's just sometimes just bringing everything to God, letting it there, not trying to fix it yourself, is the best thing you can do, and pray. And sometimes these valleys just need to be walked. And when you get out of the valley and you come out of that low spot, you have learned so many things, and your faith is stronger than it would have been if you would have never walked that path. And so just take encouragement in that. This might be a season that you will refer back to as what, you flounder for a while and then you find your footing. And it's in that valley that you truly find your faith. So just take courage. Once again, these questions are so random. I'm not compiling them in categories. I should have, but I'm just scrolling down through reading them. What is your dream vacation? Or have you already experienced it? Laugh out loud. I had talked some about in the previous Q&A about some of our bucket list things. I don't know if I really have one, but pretty much a dream vacation is being somewhere relaxing without the feeling of needing to work. And that's what I love about vacations, is you go somewhere and you're not in your home environment. Like we as moms, for me anyway, if I'm in the house, I feel like there's always work screaming at me. So not to have work and to have your children with, like if the children are along, that they traveled well and that they're happy and that no one got sick and that we're enjoying our time and just relaxing and experiencing new cultures. That is just key to me. I'm not really a place that I don't like to just go to a resort that really has no culture to it. It's fun if you really need a relaxing downtime, but dream vacation is a combination of things going fairly smoothly, no one's sick, cultural experiences, and yeah, just that feeling of stress leaving your body. So wherever that takes you, that's my dream vacation. Oh, so also with that, if we can do a vacation without spending a lot of money, that is the dream vacation. Like we have found that when we go on trips and we can do it what we call on a budget, where it's like a lot less than what the majority of people would spend, like on a typical vacation, it's such an invigorating feeling. Like, you know what, we can do this, we can have downtime, we can go on a vacation and be savvy about it and come away feeling refreshed and not feeling guilty because we spent a bunch of money we shouldn't have. So all those combined is the dream vacation. What's your favorite treat, guilty pleasure? In the realm of food, it would be anything dessert related, mostly chocolate and maybe cake. A croissant, oh, so good. Anything baked, amazing, because I basically try to eliminate that. I don't feel good on it, but that is a guilty pleasure. If it's not food, it's just a lot of alone time. It's not really guilty pleasure, but if I do it too long and like let my children with my husband, I feel guilt if I'm taking advantage of that. But I just relish alone time. Anything to recharge the batteries a little bit. Who is Lexi more like? You or Nolin, and how has life been since you had Lexi? Hello from Tanya or Tanea in New Zealand. Hello to New Zealand. I think Lexi makes after me in personality a little bit more. She looks like Nolin. She's a busy one. She is keeping us so busy. And I kind of went through the slump at the beginning of this year. We love her to pieces, but it is a hard stage of life. She's going on 2, and she just, everywhere she goes, it's just wide open, just into everything. You know how toddlers are. But she's definitely, I think, a toddler, a little bit on steroids. I've had other people comment too, how just, wow. Anyway, so she keeps me very busy. She's a very independent soul, which is a little bit like her mom, I guess. She doesn't like to be, you know, restricted too much. And she's not a super snuggly baby, although she has some. And she loves to do things her way. And yeah, when you start seeing yourself coming out in a child, it's a little bit scary when you start seeing a little version of you running around. But I think I don't think I was quite like her as a child, but she's definitely, I think she'll be a little tomboy, a little independent tomboy. I'm not sure I'm quite ready for that, to deal with little me running around, but we are. I can't recall if you speak PA Dutch, but if you do, are you planning on teaching your children? I grew up speaking it, my husband did not. You can probably hear it in my accent. I've tried to get rid of it, but I can't. Anyway, and no, we don't plan to teach the children. It's just too difficult because it's just me. And my brother actually married his wife. They both speak it, and they've tried to teach. I think they speak it at home, and their children still don't speak it. Like, they speak English, they can understand it, but they don't speak it much. So it's kind of a difficult thing to pass on. Do you think it's an important part of the PA Dutch heritage? It definitely is. It's definitely very unique, especially in some more of the old order conservative Mennonite churches. I don't know if it'll phase out eventually or not. I feel like more and more are losing it. So anyway, kind of sad. Does your church allow you to wear pants and t-shirt at home? I find some of these questions interesting. Yes, we can wear whatever we want at home or ever go without a covering in the home. Yes, you should see me throughout the day sometimes. I do not look very well put together. I am in my PJs, my hair's down, and it takes sometimes half a day for me to get dressed. I try not to let that happen, but it has happened. So yes. I'd say for the most part, people don't just like wear jeans and a t-shirt. It's probably more just like loungewear. Sometimes like if you're out working in the garden or riding horse or something, maybe you'd see that a little bit more. The churches in our area have church 3 times a week. Does your church do this also? We do not. That's amazing. 3 times a week. Is that like Sunday morning, Sunday evening, and Wednesdays? Or is it like throughout the week? Because I know in some countries they do more than we do. We usually have Sunday morning, and then every other week we have Wednesday evening service, whether it's like a members meeting or a prayer meeting, and then occasionally we'll have church in the evenings. Our church is pretty spread out, so we have quite a ways, like all our members are coming from quite a ways, so some of us have a distance between us. So do you always wear the longer dresses? I do. Personally, I do. Some of them get a little bit long. I have someone sewing for me, and then I'm too lazy to get them hemmed up, and then I'm tripping over them. But with my body shape, I do not look good in short dresses. I'm just saying, short makes my hips pronounced a lot wider. I just do not look good in short dresses. So that's why I wear long dresses. It's just a preference thing. Anyway, so I'm trying to dress for my body shape. To what age grade can your kids attend school, and will they be allowed to study further, such as university or college? Okay, so this varies. Some schools allow children to get out at 8th grade. I think this question has been asked before. However, it's becoming more and more of a thing where they go to at least 10th or graduate from high school, like 12th. I think we're gonna be sending Zander to a school eventually where it goes all the way through high school. The main thing I would say, a lot of people, like I'm not dismissing this, but I have noticed that with our private schools and the curriculums we use, they are a little bit more intense, I think, than some of like typical public schools. I have noticed, especially in reading, some of our students, it just feels like their comprehension is way higher than even like the general public in a few grades higher. I have met people that had graduated from high school, and some of our 4th and 5th graders could probably read better than they did. There's kind of like it's looked down on to only go to 8th grade, and I would actually agree with that. Like I feel like you need more than that. But at the same time, our education system and the way that we teach is, I think, a lot more hands-on. We have smaller schools and the programs go at a faster rate. I've heard this even from people that use some of our curriculums that aren't a part of Mennonites, and how much further ahead their homeschooled students are than, say, the general public school. So it's kind of one of those things, like in our circles, especially with the boys, there's just a lot of entrepreneurship, businessmen, and it's just great when the boys can go out and actually have hands-on experience, and it feels like they go further than just like anymore in this day and age. We're starting to see that degrees aren't always what they were cracked up to be, 10, 20 years ago, especially in certain fields. And sometimes just hands-on experience is what you need. And so, if you go to 12th grade, you have an 18-year-old, and often if you pull them out earlier, if they're not going through the whole way, they can start working at 16, 17 with their dad, learn the business, learn the trade, and they get a lot of experience that way. And there's quite a few businessmen that come out of our young guys. And I think it's so much because they have so much hands-on experience and not just sitting at a desk 18 years of their life. Not 18, but whatever it is, 15. So yes, and can they go on? Yes, they can. We have girls going through nursing, we have some doctors, so yeah, it's not like they can't, it's just sort of a culture thing, I guess. What are your best tips for a pretty flower garden? I am not well versed in this. I enjoy dabbling in like flowers. I just kind of grab and go and plant what's pretty and water them and hope for the best. I don't have a green thumb. I love it, I love working outside, but it's not like a passion, so I'm not the one to ask. There was also someone, I think I missed that question, I'm sorry, I thought I had gotten it. Here it is. What gardening tips do you have for someone who's a beginner gardener? This I also don't have the best. I just feel like I'm still learning. Like fertilizers, question about fertilizer, soil, and indoor, outdoor plants. Like I said, I'm not a green thumb. I try gardening, I hope for the best. I throw some fertilizer on. We have cow manure that we put on sometimes, and it's just sort of this guessing game. I'm not like an avid gardener, so I'm not even going to bother asking that. I'm sorry. What recommendations, tips do you have for someone who is beginning to seriously enter Christianity? I am now getting through the Bible, but feel there is so much information to learn. Also, I am trying to understand some of the customs of Christians, Lent, Advent, etc. that are brand new to me. This is definitely I'm not really 100% sure which direction to go with this. But I think I will go back to what I had mentioned earlier about surrounding yourself. If you can find a group of a Christian family that is truly following Christ, and surround yourself with them. That is like one of the biggest pillars, is our community and just encouraging each other onward. And someone that you can go to with questions, someone that you trust and that they can mentor you. But obviously it's not a have to, but it's definitely a tip I would have if you can at all find someone. Another thing is just remember it's a journey. It's not a destination. We're always growing in our Christian life. You don't have to reach a certain point like, oh, I'm just a new Christian, I don't understand. Even Paul talks about baby Christians, when you first come, you can take the milk of the word and you're not ready for the meat yet. And as you grow, you learn more and more. And so it's a journey. It's not a destination. And so you're constantly growing and constantly learning and constantly trying to improve things in your life. And I feel like it's, if you have that relationship with Christ, it's key to just get in your Bible consistently, pray. Something that I feel is a struggle a lot, all the time. Even for me, it's just like something that, especially when you're in a busy season of life, it can be really difficult to be consistent with that. But just making that effort in itself is huge. You don't always have to get something out of it, but just making that a consistent ritual in your life. Speaking to myself here. And I feel like so when you're a Christian, God won't reveal everything to you right away. If we would see all the things we have to grow in, all the convictions we have to get, we would just be so overwhelmed. Anyway, and so God just reveals things slowly, and as we grow and work on little things He shows us, we work on that, and we slowly grow. And it's just a process, it's a journey. So just enjoy the journey. And then as far as all the Christian customs, it's not really this mandatory. It's just if you want to do some of them, great. If not, it's not really, this is again, it's a journey. You don't have to feel like you have to attain all these things to somehow be a good Christian. So it's all about your relationship with Christ and continuing to have a heart posture towards Him and growing and constantly longing to have that relationship with Him, and everything else kind of more or less falls into place. How does Zander feel about being a big brother? From what I've seen, he does a wonderful job and he seems so happy with his sister. Yes, he loves it. They're actually starting to play together a lot more. There for a while, he was so sad she wasn't a baby anymore because she didn't like him to hold her. I just wish she was a baby again so I could hold her. But recently they've been doing a lot more together, and they're he roughs with her, tackles her, and I'm like, Zander, not so rough, but somehow she just likes it. She's gonna grow up tough, that's for sure. They just have this little ritual after dinner's over. They go and just rough around. Anyway, they're doing really well. So he loves having a little sister. He's actually starting to beg, can Lexi get up from her nap? Or anyway, I wish the age gap was a little bit closer, but that's how it is. So I'm not going to stress over that one. What kind of film equipment would you recommend for a fairly new beginner in creating videos for YouTube, as well as what is a good free editing program to use? Basically, the camera you have with you. A lot of us have phones that take such great videos that honestly, that's all you need to start. And I would just say focus on audio, maybe invest in a little microphone that you can actually clip into your phone if you're doing these types of videos, because people want better audio than they do video. They'll suffer a little bit more on bad video quality, but if you can hardly hear and there's just a lot of background noise, they click away a lot faster. So that'd be my recommendation. You can Google for free editing software. I started off with DaVinci Resolve. They have a free program that I really like, but it can be a little bit overwhelming when you look at it first because it's a professional level, but I do recommend starting with them, just starting with the basics. That way it will grow with you as you learn more and more and more. You don't have to suddenly get out of this really simple Instagram style editing program that just does everything for you and then transition to something more professional and then relearn it all again. So it's called Da Vinci. I'll just put it right here. What is your favorite season? I love fall. Fall is probably my favorite season. I love summer too, but it can get a little hot. I like winter, but I get tired of the cold. Fall is just, sweaters, coffees, beautiful colors, beautiful weather. Love it. Do you ever get to the Adams County Apple Festival? No, I've never been there actually. Are you proud to be a Mennonite? I hadn't seen that question before. Sorry for laughing. Oh man. Whew. That's a question to ask. How am I going to answer that? Yes and no. And that's about the best I can answer. So I'm very thankful for a lot of the blessings that have come with our culture and our heritage. There is so much to be grateful for. I look at our community, our family structure, our close-knitness. There's so many things I'm thankful for, but there's also so many things I'm not proud of. There's been a lot of fractures, people not getting along, not agreeing on certain things. There's the tendency to let the way we do things become a religion, and people get so hung up on that. And then, and then there's also the people that are within our culture that are not truly born-again Christians, and have wrecked the Mennonite name or the Amish name in some ways. Maybe they are really greedy, and Mennonites are kind of known to be tight with their money, and sometimes that can be overdone and they can take advantage of people. I would say for the most part not, but there's definitely those that are always, wanting the next deal or wanting whatever. And I have that in me too. I always love finding, a good deal or whatever, but sometimes it's just not worth it. That was kind of a bunny trail, but there's some of those things, or people that are under our umbrella that, like I said, are not true believers, and they do horrible things. And then it kind of comes back on us as a whole. And so there's some of that I'm not proud of to be associated with, but when I look at it from a distance and I weigh the pros and cons, I always fall back in the camp of wanting to stay. So that's why I'm still Mennonite. How do you celebrate Good Friday and Easter? Do you celebrate just Easter Sunday, or do you do Monday and Tuesday too? No, we just mostly do Easter Sunday. I know some churches have church on Good Friday. We don't. I should get into more of these things. I didn't grow up so much with a whole bunch of traditions. It was mostly just centered around church services and so on. She said, I too am a Mennonite, and we celebrate Christmas Day and 2 days after that. That's really neat. And we also celebrate the January 6th and Good Friday and Easter Sunday, and Monday and Tuesday we don't work on those days and celebrate with family. That is really neat. I love that. Thanks for sharing. What's your favorite book of the Bible? I think I said that 1 John is definitely one of them. Do you watch The Chosen? I didn't realize until recently that there's like a huge controversy over The Chosen. I had mentioned it to a friend and she said she never watched it because of the controversy on it. I'm like, what? Anyway, then I started diving into it and realizing that there's people that think it's not biblical. And anyway, so without trying to raise any kind of debate, we do watch The Chosen, and I have been super blessed by it, and I think it has touched the lives of many people. And I pretty much come back to this. If you're looking at it as the Bible, another form of the Bible, then it's completely the wrong perspective to look at it. But if you're looking at it as a way of, okay, so some people are so technical and they say, well, they are taking some things out of context, like Jesus is saying some things that he never said in the Bible, or, this scene did not happen in the Bible. And I just look at that and I just don't understand that reasoning, because to me it's like, we know that what's recorded in the Bible, in the stories, is just a fraction of what could have happened. Like, our imaginations can run wild as far as, things that people said. And, I love the aspect of that they bring Jesus, like Jesus has humor. And I truly believe he does, because it's one of the things he gave us, and God has to have humor. I mean, you look at creation and some of the things that God created has to be just from a humorous standpoint. Anyway, sidetracked. I really think they did such an incredible job at portraying the love of Jesus in a way that wasn't like superficial, and they brought in like a human element, and I cannot put words on it, but I've never been a fan of anyone playing Jesus, simply because we're human and he was God in human flesh. And it felt kind of sacrilegious maybe, but this was one show that I did not feel that way. So yes, I do kind of recommend it, but if you feel like it's not for you, I understand. And I don't want to lead anyone, like, there are things that might not be biblical in there. I don't think I've ever seen anything that's like contradicting the Bible. That's when I would be concerned, but maybe I've not watched enough, or maybe I missed some things. So don't go off of me, but I do know that we have been super blessed with it. I know a lot of people have been, and I think it has reached so many people across the world that is it right for us to completely judge it because some little things aren't quite exactly how they should be. I think we as Christians can get so hung up on the details. And sometimes it just drives me nuts. It's like, yes, we need to be careful, we need to be wary, but then you see all this back and forth about this and that and the other thing, and you're missing the message. You're focusing on the law and the what is it in the scripture? It says the dots and the tits and the tittles or something in the King James. Like basically you're just so focused on the dots and all the little details that you completely miss the message. And I feel like that sometimes is what happens with The Chosen. So I don't know, it's just my perspective. I feel like I have heard of so many people that have fallen away and come back to Christianity and found their relationship with Christ after watching that because it touched them so deeply. And yeah, so that's just kind of my take on it. What's your most favorite part of the vlogging process? That's a difficult one. I very much love capturing memories, especially for my family. And so it's kind of this struggle of how much do I want to put my children on YouTube. I've battled through that. I think I found some peace with how we're doing things. But I love capturing stories. That's just, to me, that's the ultimate. I'm like, people just love when I do cooking videos, cleaning videos. They drive me nuts. I hate doing them because first off, I hate cleaning, and I enjoy cooking, but it's not like a love. And then when you have to vlog, when you're doing it, it takes like 3 to 5 times longer. And so to me, it's so much more fun to do like stories and travel and that kind of thing. Basically, you come away and then you have a memory at the end of it that you can go back and revisit again and again as a family. If you had known then what you know now, what would you have done differently regarding your presence on social media? Thank you for sharing your family with us viewers. I probably would have been a little bit more careful with some of the things I share, just opening up. I'm not sure. It's kind of hard to say. It's such a, I still struggle sometimes with just having my life out there. Since I've been backing off a little bit, I don't feel quite as much that way. My biggest struggle is children on YouTube. I think if my channel would ever grow like super large, which I don't ever foresee it, I like it at this size where I just get like, I don't know, 15, 20,000 views a video. That's a lot of people, but in the grand scheme of things, it's called a micro channel. And so I don't feel like I'm quite as out there as if it was like 500,000 subscribers or 1 million or whatever, and then I don't know, the whole thing. So I struggle with that. Yeah, it's mostly with children and family that I'm trying to find my way. It's been an interesting journey for sure. Is all the Mama Java coffee good for grandmas too? Of course, we're actually hoping to come out with a fun blend, one for dads and one for grandmas. I think that'd be super fun. Oh, someone asked if we're planning to sell Keurig pods on Mama Java coffee. And honestly, I've still been kind of working on this. I've been hoping to. I told people I was planning to. The biggest problem I'm running into is price. Because we're not doing this ourselves, we're working with a roaster. Things are a little bit more expensive, and then we're also donating to Life Water $1 for every bag, and that would kind of translate to every 12 pods of coffee as well. Anyway, and so that has just really made the price go up, and I just cringe at how expensive it is, and I'm just not sure I want to put it out there. Like, it's already expensive to buy fresh roasted coffee no matter where you go. And then if you do fresh roasted coffee and Keurig pods, it's a whole lot more labor, and it's labor intensive, and you're getting a lot less money, a lot less bang for your buck. And so it's just hard for me to like bring those prices out, and I can't do anything otherwise. Like, it has to be that price. So I'm still struggling with that. Like, is it going to be a good thing for the business or not to actually have something that's priced higher than some of my competitors? So I don't know, still struggling through that one. Does Zander like going to school? He loves it. Yes, he does. How do you have time to do YouTube plus take time for children and all the house, yard work, church, friends, etc.? Smiley face. I really do enjoy watching you. Always look forward to the videos. Just feel overwhelmed with all the work I have to do with 3 littles and homeschooling, plus a stay-at-home mom, and wonder how the YouTube moms get everything done, plus take time for fun things on the side. That is a good question. First off, I'm not homeschooling. That's a big thing off the plate. So kudos to you for doing that. Basically, look at it like this. If you look at these YouTube moms or Instagram moms or whatever, just remember that something is falling through the cracks that likely isn't in your life. And you have a lot of give and take. So for myself, I don't feel like my housekeeping standards are nearly as high as some of my friends. And it can be an insecurity for me. But I also don't thoroughly enjoy cleaning, and I just don't want to spend my life constantly cleaning, although I still feel like I am constantly picking up and cleaning because I do like a tidy house. But you know, there's stains on the couches, there's smudges on the walls. Everywhere you look, there's things that could be cleaned deeply, and if I didn't have YouTube going on, I probably still wouldn't do it anyway. But I'm basically saying some of those things I just don't have time for, and then every now and then I do get someone in to help me clean. I pay someone if I'm getting behind. So with having YouTube and some of this other stuff, it does bring in some income, so then I can spend to have some help. I know, like, I think Megan Fox has someone that cleans her house. She has a sister, which is nice, and she comes and babysits for her and cleans her house every week, like once or twice a week, which would be huge. So if you don't have that, like, give yourself grace. Don't compare yourself to other people. Like, I find myself doing it the same. Don't feel like somehow we're just super women that get things done. Just remember, things are falling through the cracks. So it's all in what you want to fall through the cracks. For me, I probably am not like super crafts. Like, I don't do crafts with my children much at all. I don't enjoy it. And I try to do it here and there, but I figure, you know what? I don't have to be super mom in every area of life. One thing I do enjoy is back to traveling again. I love to plan a vacation with my family to make memories and do it on a budget. And I feel like that is something that I have become better at. And like, it's a talent of mine, I would consider somewhat. And so my children benefit from that, but they might not get the everyday, you know, the little crafts and the cute little lunch boxes that get sent off to school and all the things that Pinterest moms do, you know, mine don't do. Like, just come over to my house and you will quickly see that there are glitches and holes. And the other thing I find, even if you're feeling overwhelmed, like, same here. This beginning of this year, I was actually really struggling with depression, kind of, because Lexi is at a stage where she was especially just cling to me. I couldn't almost do anything, not even just basic housework. And so moms, I know when you go through this, and I would just get so overwhelmed that I almost dread the day, because I just get up and all it was a needy child that was just crying and never quite happy, couldn't entertain herself, always getting into everything. And all I was doing was basically just spending my time keeping up after her. And that can get tiring, and I only have 2 children, so I can't imagine how it is with more, although I do know when you get more, the older ones start helping with the younger as well, and that can help. They can entertain each other more sometimes. So I'm just saying, with your question, do not compare yourself and do not feel like you're somehow not as good as some of whoever you're watching, because trust me, what you see online is not reality. It just really isn't. So you see some of the highlights and whatever, but you don't see the things that don't happen, and yeah. And also, I'm trying to be a lot more intentional with family time and just relaxing, not pushing myself so hard. And that was something I had to learn. Like, no, it's not good to work till 12, 1 in the morning just because that's the only time you can work. Just forget about it. If something doesn't happen, just try to let it go. And that's really difficult to do. But sometimes you just have to do it and just roll with life and just let things go. It's kind of a thing you have to learn. You can tell yourself, you know what, it doesn't matter, I'm gonna let it go, but you still feel like it matters, and you still can't let it go. So It's all a learning process. Someone else asked, how has your gut health been? I answered that on my previous video. Since having Lexi, do you and Nolin want to have more children if it's God's will? I also answered that one. Hopefully in the future we'll have more, but we'll see. Someone else, how have you been feeling lately? And I answered the questions all about my health on the other video, so you can check that one out. When will you post another humorous video? All need to laugh every once in a while. One, like my mother-in-law is coming. I had it kind of is what made my channel go whoop. But I had made a video about my mother-in-law is coming and how I was panicking and cleaning up the house. And then it said also, I really miss you getting into all kinds of projects that are really way too hard for you. Thank you. With all that said, you're my favorite YouTuber. Aw, and thank you. Okay, answering the first question, the humorous video. If you want humorous videos, I do like making them sometimes. I've been doing a little bit more in shorts with coffee over on Instagram if you want to follow Mama Java on Instagram. I try to kind of blend that here and there when I have time. Every now and then I like to do more humorous ones. I have found that I kind of cringe at myself a little bit. I tend to be just a little bit more, I like to just share the real and maybe add some humor along in the real, because I do love humor. The real, as far as like the real and the raw of life. And just like connect with people that way instead of, I don't want my channel to be like this skit playing channel. But it would be fun to do another one here and there. I've already thought with Lexi at her toddler stage, it could be fun to make some humorous mom videos again with all the crazy things that go on. But yeah, it's not really the nature that I want this channel to go. And I don't want to be known for that necessarily. I just like to, yeah, anyway. So that having said that, maybe sometime we can do more. Anyway, and then tackling projects that are too hard for me. Well, thank you. Like the RV we did, it was way above my head. Hopefully when I'm past this busy season, I feel like I've been so busy with just life, and my little one has been keeping me, I've said that before, but I just feel like honestly I can hardly keep up with the bare necessities right now at this stage of life. So a lot of projects and that kind of thing, I just don't have the inspiration. And also I've been pouring my energy into Mama Java, which has been my latest project, which was so much work. And it was so rewarding, but now we get the fun benefits of that, and we're actually planning a trip here when Zander gets out of school, so I can't wait to share that, where we're going to go visit another coffee farm, Lord willing, and share that. So it's going to be kind of part of business trip and part family getaway. Anyway, so that has been a project, but not really out in the forefront where people see. But I do love tackling projects, maybe again once Lexi's a little more independent from me. Like I can hardly leave her even to go upstairs, and she starts crying if she doesn't see me in her vicinity. So anyway, someone else asked again how my health has been. Thank you for asking. Everyone's so kind. What's your favorite coffee drink recipes using Mama Java, of course? Someone asked. Honestly, I'm a simple girl. My absolute favorite is a little bit of heavy cream, and you whip it up with a whisk, and you do like a Americano in that, like an espresso shot and water. To me, it's just the best. I know that's really boring. I love making lattes as well with a little bit of syrup. I don't have these fancy elaborate drinks because I don't do sugar much at all. And so, yeah, that's about the extent that I go. I just love the taste of rich coffee, delicious coffee. With some cream. So good. I'm a simple girl. I'm a simple girl. Anyway, I'm wrapping up just in time. About 10-15 minutes. I have to go pick up Zander from school. He goes to school about 15 minutes from here, so it's about an hour a day of driving, but I kind of enjoy the reprieve and getting out and the quiet, if it's quiet with the children, contemplation. Usually it's more quiet with Lexi. If it's both of them, then it gets pretty noisy. So anyway, thanks for being here. We'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Ooh, who is it? Here is the little person that keeps her whole family busy. Yes. Who knew that such a sweet little bundle could do so many things, right? A chickie. Here, can you say bye? You say bye? How old is Lexi? 1. Can you say bye? Bye? Okay. Jakey?